Scott Brogman with the Memphis International Airport, and some pretty exciting things happening in Memphis, and some interesting talks happening as well.
Exactly. Yes, we had about 160 airports or airport representatives in town, 15 airlines, and we hosted the very first of what is now being called TakeOff 2018. They will have an annual conference now. And the difference with this conference that we hosted, we were the first host, is that it is for airports that are below a certain threshold of in-plane passengers, 2.5 million, which puts those airports in a very small medium hub or a small hub, non-hub context. And so it gives a much better opportunity for those smaller airports to get meetings with airlines to talk about air service needs. A lot of those smaller airport communities are locations that we used to have service to as a former hub, passenger transfer hub. So it was important for us to really work with the planner of this meeting to facilitate the potential building of air service among smaller airports. U.S. aviation system is truly that, a system. And without the airports in every one of the smaller cities, if all we have is airports in large cities, mega cities, then you don't really have connectivity in the system. By doing this, it gave an opportunity for those smaller airports that sometimes get pushed out, don't get as many airline interviews or airline meetings with the bigger conferences, gave them more time with the airlines and gave more focus. And I think it turned out very well. The attendance was really good. It was the first year, and so not everybody had it on their radar, not everybody had it in their budgets. So some people may not have been able to make it, but I think as an inaugural location, Memphis did itself proud. Our partners in Memphis Tourism, they were fabulous. We had a great event last night, a host city event, and everyone enjoyed themselves. And they got a chance to sense the flavor and the feel of Memphis as really as a destination, so that when we do start a process of trying to get service between Memphis and one of their cities, they have a better feel for what we're trying to sell. And if we don't have a flight to their city, they don't have a flight to ours. So it works both ways. We get to learn more about them, they get to learn more about us directly because they're here. Beale Street, the various tourist attractions, whether it's
Graceland.
People went to Graceland, people went to the National Civil Rights Museum, were just blown away by that. And so they got really a flavor of Memphis that they don't get just in conversation with me or a member of my team or in reading about it on the internet, because they got to feel it, touch it, see it, and participate in living that piece of Memphis. I know it was downtown, but it was that piece of Memphis that we really sell from our tourism standpoint. And so it was really, I think, a great inaugural meeting for TakeOff.
We kind of touched on my next question, Scott. Some people might ask if an airline has a destination or a route, why don't they just come to Memphis? But it's very important, it sounds like, to have this sort of interaction with an airline.
Well, with all the mergers that have taken place, the aviation system is becoming much more competitive for routes. Airlines are renewing their fleets with larger aircraft, removing some of the smaller, less fuel efficient aircraft, the twin turboprops, the 50 seat, CRJ 200, ERJ 145s. Those 50 seat and less planes are becoming less and less prominent. So it's very important for airports in this size category to be able to work on identifying those things that could actually work as a selling point between two destinations. When we go to another city for a conference, we don't just go for the conference itself. We also go to get a sense and a feel for their community, for what they have to offer, so that we can help market that if in fact we do end up with service to that city. So there's much more to it we hope that they actually got a chance to see Memphis in a little different way, get a little bit more touch and feel of the culture and the cuisine and the entertainment. Of course, the music is a big driver, and they got to feel all of that, and I think it turned out really well.
All the things that we love about Memphis.
Exactly, and so we've got to sell them on that as part of this program. And I think Memphis did itself proud over the last 3 days, and I think everyone's going to leave with a very positive feel about Memphis as a destination, as a place they might want to visit down the road. And you know, it's as they put it, a happening place.
How long does it take usually after this sort of interaction to see some sort of fruits of the labor, if you will?
Well, you know, it is, like I said, it's very competitive, and I look at it as we use this to, very seldom do you walk away from one of these conferences with a guarantee, with someone that says, okay, we're going to fly your market, we're going to announce it this date. What you hope to end up with in these is to elevate yourself within their analysis at their corporate offices of where they're looking to put aircraft in the future, and you try to move yourself up on that list. It is very competitive and it is very profit oriented, and they focus their resources where they think they can make the most money. It isn't that they may not be able to make money in city A or B, it's just which one are they going to make the most money. And so ticket prices, demand from a standpoint of passengers between those two cities every day is very important. And so it's not an easy journey. It's one that's more of a marathon than a sprint. And so we made some great inroads with a number of carriers during this meeting. I hope to have some announcements in the near future. I thought we did. We had very pointed discussions about routes that we were interested in. They are now interested in, which is what you try to do. You try to get them as interested in you as you are in them. And by doing that, I think we moved ourselves up on the list, which made this an accomplishment. If we can garner additional routes and possibly an additional carrier out of this meeting, then it was worth all the time, energy, and effort that went into doing this, and the resources that were expended to host this by not only the airport but also the tourism, Memphis tourism. Then it will be a resounding success. But that will take some time for the end result to actually come to fruition. But we'll know it when we get it, because we know what we talk to them about. So I'm very optimistic going forward.
Any clues or any hints on any potential routes or airlines?
No, but you know, you've seen the list of our top 20, and that is really our point of focus. We really, focus primarily on our top 5, our top 10, but we will go further down the list depending on how they talk to us, because a lot of times they'll say, well, we've been looking at, what do you think about this? And so they give us a little read into what they're looking at that may not be in our top 10, but is certainly on our list and service that we want. So that's a good thing. So we let them drive us a little bit while we're trying to drive them to the list, the cities on the list we want. So it really becomes a give and take at the table. It's a building of relationships. All of those things are critical to getting service. And I think we move the ball forward.
Thanks. Appreciate
My
the
pleasure.
time, Scott.
Always a pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks.